Ladies and gentlemen, my name is not Paul Heyman. However, when I was a kid, I would try to cut promos like he did in the WWE World Wrestling Entertainment. Paul Heyman's signature line happened when he would introduce one of his clients, which were wrestlers that he would manage. He would come out to the ring and always say, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman," and then he would continue to introduce the client he was bringing out with him. Even though everybody who was a fan of WWE knew who Paul was, it was a catchphrase that he would say every time he came out. When I say WWE, I'm talking about World Wrestling Entertainment. WWE started off as a small wrestling company by Vincent J. McMahon and was eventually bought out by his son, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, in 1982, with the goal to make it the biggest wrestling company in the world. At the time, there were about 30 smaller wrestling promotions that all had their different territories around the US, and he wanted to be bigger than all of them. What gave him a huge head start is that he realized that cable was the way to go if he wanted WWE, which is actually known as WWWF at the time, Worldwide Wrestling Federation, to gain popularity and reach more people. Mr. McMahon ended up striking a deal with USA Network, and that allowed them to be seen on a national stage. Popular wrestlers like Hulk Hogan and Pat Patterson started leaving their territorial promotions to join WWE because it allowed for them as well to get more exposure and be paid more than what they were currently making. With WWE growing so much, many of the territorial wrestling promotions went out of business because they were losing wrestlers and did not change their way of business, which ended up ruining their companies. Now, before I go any further, I need to address the topic of wrestling being fake. For whatever reason, anytime I tell somebody that I'm a fan of WWE in general, or wrestling in general, 90% of the time, the response I get is something along the lines of, "You know wrestling is fake, right?" So I want to clarify something ahead of time. Wrestling is an art form and one of the hardest things to do at an expert level. It takes years of going to school and years of working in the independent scene before you can even get noticed a small amount. When it comes to wrestling being fake, it is fake, in that fictional storylines are being given with simulated combat. But more importantly, people need to realize that it is also one of the most intense body-hurting sports out there. There have been people severely injured, paralyzed, and even people who have died because of how much they love the art of wrestling. Your job is to make it look like you're actually hurting your opponent without actually hurting them. It might sound easy, but think about the fact that this is all done in front of a stadium-filled audience at least 4 times a week, live, without any editing and no chance to redo it if you screw up. Yes, we wrestling fans understand that it is fake and the matches are predetermined, but the storytelling that gets told in the ring is way more than just fake fighting. Current WWE superstar Xavier Woods posted on Twitter after a fan called out wrestling for being fake, saying, "Simply understand that wrestling is one of the last forms of Shakespeare in the round. The crowd is watching men and women tell stories through physicality with a 360-degree setting. Artists use paint to create art on a canvas, and we use our fists and feet to create art on a canvas. It's art. We got one take, not 40, in front of a live audience that appreciates us putting our bodies on the line for their entertainment." Now WWE years and years Now WWE has years and years of built up storylines that span throughout seasons of the show that you need to know about to even understand what is going on in the ring. So yes, I understand that wrestling is fake, just like every other TV show out there, and I'm completely fine with it. When it comes to WWE's history, it is divided into different eras, starting with the 80s boom from 1982 to 1985. After that was the dawn of wrestling from 1985 to 1990. The new generation from 1990 to 1996. The Attitude Era from 1996 to 2001. The post-war era from 2001 to 2005. And the current era that we are living in today, which is the modern era, which started in 2005 and is currently ongoing. WWE today is definitely a more family-friendly show than it used to be, which has led to a huge explosion of fans coming and joining the fan base. With a move from PG-13 to PG, there has been quite a bit of backlash, though, from past fans of the show, back when it was PG-13. Most notably, fans from the Attitude Era, which was the era from 1996 to 2001, because of how much that era pushed the limit of storylines back then. The Attitude Era, which is my favorite era of wrestling, was an era that started in 1996 and was a result of the Monday Night Wars that had taken place throughout the 1990s. A company named WCW, which stands for World Championship Wrestling, was started by Ted Turner and was WWE's biggest and only competition at the time. WWE had every show Monday night called Monday Night Raw, and WCW had a show every Monday called WCW, Monday Nitro. Every Monday, these two shows would be on and have a battle for TV ratings and try to outdo each other as the best wrestling promotion. On March 26, 2001, WWE ended up buying WCW for $4.2 million, and the war was over with WWE coming out on top, thus producing the Attitude Era. Many famous figures that we see today, like The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, all were immensely popular during the Attitude Era, and that kickstarted their career. Fans of the Attitude Era are very different from the fans of today, which is why they have such a problem with the product today, even though they'll still watch it. Even though the product of WWE today is more family friendly and has completely extended its fan base to a whole new audience, older fans for the most part are still involved. When it comes to wrestling today as well, it is definitely more popular than ever before, and this is all due to Vince McMahon and the ideas he comes up with to keep it going. He uses many popular people in all different areas of fame to get more attention on WWE. For example, he created a feud between a wrestler named The Big Show and boxing champion Floyd Mayweather that lasted months and created a reason for boxing fans to tune into WWE to see what they would do with Floyd Mayweather. Another example is using Ronda Rousey. WWE recently signed Ronda Rousey to a contract where she is now a weekly wrestler and is currently the WWE Women's Champion. As some people may know, Ronda Rousey is a champion UFC fighter and has won many belts in the UFC and in martial arts in general. With her being here, this gives fans of UFC and fighting a reason to check out WWE. Many of the celebrities have appeared on WWE television, including Donald Trump, Jon Stewart, and even Snoop Dogg. And doing these appearances allow for WWE to have new people want to tune in to see those celebrities. WWE even recently just had 2 shows in stadiums in Saudi Arabia for the first time out there, which was the first time a live U.S. sporting show took place in Saudi Arabia in around 60 years. Now, with WWE as the biggest wrestling company in the world today, the amount of history they have made and achievements that they have achieved is nothing short of incredible. They They are currently the 6th most subscribed channel on YouTube with over 36 million subscribers, and they are currently the longest running weekly show of all time. So even though some people may make fun of others for watching wrestling or not even understand the show themselves, the fan base of wrestling is massive, and we couldn't be any happier being fans of one of the greatest TV shows ever made.